Last night was crazy, not because we had some great women's hoops, but we also had some breaking news. So that has us rethinking possibilities, presented by Invesco QQQ. I looked down at my phone and the scream I scrumped just because I was not expecting to see this last night. Notre Dame star guard Olivia Miles, projected to be the #2 overall pick in this year's WNBA Draft, has decided instead to forego the draft at this point and enter her name into the transfer portal. Monica, what do you make of this news?
Okay, a lot went through my mind on this,
Yes.
only because I have been privy, at least the last couple of years, maybe there's an update that I don't know, about Olivia's relationship with Neil, right? And to my knowledge, they were close. So this was a little bit confusing to me, but sometimes fit is not necessarily about liking. It's about the opportunity to go and add to your repertoire before she takes a big leap to go to the pros. So I guess the only thing that I have on this, really, guys, as a silver lining is just because you go into the transfer portal doesn't mean you actually are going to transfer.
Right.
But I'm really curious to see how this one plans out. But in the NIL space, like, I get taking your time to become the best version of yourself before you step into the pros.
Yeah, and try to make a little money while you're doing it. Charlie, what do you feel about this potential move, and what factored into this decision for Olivia Miles, in your opinion?
Well, I think, and Monica just alluded to with NIL, there's so many factors. Is it, I just need a new environment? But sometimes players, kids at the college level, they just feel like, hey, I need to try something new. I have the ability for a new experience, so let me take advantage of that leverage while I have it. Maybe she just wants to look around and say, hey, is there a little bit more money out there in NIL that I can get if I go somewhere else? And it also might be, in terms of the draft, I know she talked about maybe needing a little bit of a break, and the ankle injuries she suffered in the regionals really kind of, I think, weighed on her a little bit. And if she goes right into the WNBA situation, that she's not going to have a chance to necessarily heal up. I have to think all of those things were flowing through her mind. I was a little surprised with the decision to forego the draft and then enter the transfer portal. But I also look at it like this. Early in the season, in the preseason, I made kind of the comments, or I wrote a little bit about, I wonder how the chemistry between Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles is going to work out. Then they started playing, and I felt foolish because it looked tremendous. They played so well together. But I think at the end of the season, we saw that it wasn't quite the same. Something was amiss with their on-court chemistry. So maybe that went into Miles' decision too. She said, you know what? If I can go and be the singular point guard in another program, maybe that's even better for me for my continued development. So I think all of those things are probably going into the decision to enter the transfer portal. And as Monica said, it doesn't make it a done deal, but it is an interesting one for sure.
We'll eventually find out what's next for Olivia Miles, and hopefully we'll hear from her as to why she's making the decisions she are. But you know, there will be the best for her moving forward. Charlie, any idea on where Olivia Miles might land?
Oh,
I mean, I really don't have any sort of inside info, but you look around the landscape, and we just saw a team in TCU lose last night and end their season. We also know that they're going to be losing a whole bunch of players. And we also know that Mark Campbell has no problem building a program around transfers. That's what he just did for the big turnaround at TCU. So you just kind of add those things together, and you work logic from there. Could TCU be a destination for Miles? She would have sort of the run of the floor. He's a very player-friendly coach. So she would be able to operate in the way that she certainly wants to operate. Not that Neil Avi is not a player-friendly coach. I'm certainly not suggesting that. But it's in a new situation with a fresh environment that, you know, this is a guess, really. But I'm only taking the pieces that we've seen in recent history and saying, could TCU be the place? I don't know, but I think it's logical to say that maybe.
Yeah, Olivia could pick up the phone and potentially call someone named Haley Van Lith and say, hey, how did your experience go? And I think it would be rave reviews from HBL. Monica, you feel like there's a fit around the country for Olivia Miles and what it says bigger picture about women's college basketball right now?
I honestly, as we sit here today, I cannot think of a better fit than TCU potentially, because that is a marquee point guard that is moving on.
Yeah.
I wonder about
Say
an
it.
LSU? Like, I wonder if that's at all in the cards. I'm not jumping off the page vouching for that. But if we're talking about this thing being attached to NIL opportunities, we know I watched the Money Game. I watched the documentary when it comes to LSU. So I just wonder about that one a little bit. And then you think about the position that she's going to go on to play at the next level. Obviously, she'll still continue to be a point guard. The other teams in the Final Four, you got to think about it, right? Like, in terms of places that have sent pros consistently to go on to the next level. So those are just thoughts that come to my mind. I don't know anything on this one. I'm curious to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting watch. Tania Latson, the nation's leading scorer, also in the transfer portal from Florida State. You got a couple of big names, Cody McMahon, the forward from Ohio State.
Cody.
So a lot of the pieces are going to fit the puzzle here over the next couple of weeks as we wrap up this season.